Waiting for it to come up here. Hey, what's up, everybody? And we have a new thing that we're doing today. It's an information stream, and I'm recording it as well, so y'all know if y'all want to go back and check it out later and get information. We're going to go out to Hirschfelden for this. Now, what we're going to be discussing is the best rifle for each class and situation. And anytime y'all have a question, just let me know your question. I'm going to throw it into my notepad, and then I'll try to answer them all at one time. And I've been playing this game. I've got thousands of hours into this game, and I know the ins and outs of it pretty darn good. So I've had a lot of questions on my Twitter and on my YouTube about different rifles and stuff, so I wanted to go over that. Number one, I think we're going to put the dog up. We're going to set it to like 4 in the morning. 4:30 will be fine. That'll give me time to do what I need to do. Alrighty. And of course, it's raining. We're going to put the dog up. He is not needed for this. And we're actually going to go over to the today loadout. I'm not going to delete it, but in case I do end up messing up something, that's when I can rebuild it anytime. So let's go over here. And let's get started talking. So we're going to start with class 1 and go up through class 9, and I will give the situations in the different, with the different animals and stuff. So I'm also going to go over your best weapon for a few other animals. So let me pull up my information sheet that I make, and I'm going to go through here and check this out. So, hopefully it'll stop raining soon. What I'm going to do is come on in here, and we're going to, like I said, we're going to start with class 1 stuff. So, I'm just going to pull everything out that's in my inventory all together, and then I'll go back through and put it all back in there as we need to. So, those are fine for what I'm going to be doing. And then I don't need any of that. Not going to need those today. And definitely don't need that today. All right. So you've got a few class 1 class 1 rifles, but also when thinking about class 1, you need to think about a shotgun. And that is for animals that are grounded. So you've got 3 class 1 rifles, so off the top of my head. We're going to go with the Coleman Wasp. We'll go with that one. And then the Zarza 22 as well. I'm not going to cover handguns or bows in this. I will talk about a shotgun in this, though, for just the class 1 animals, and I'll explain that. So we're going to need 22H, 22LR. That'll cover those, and then 12 gauge birdshot. All right. So hopefully that rain's not too loud. It is. I'm going to try to fast travel away and come back and hope that it is gone. The rain ruins everything. All right. There we go. Let's go ahead and get back over here. So I'll show y'all a quick way to load up your weapons and all as well if y'all don't know this method. And it's still raining over here. You go to inventory. I like to go to this view, and then I'm just going to pull in my stuff here, whatever I need to. So we're actually going to put them in that order, and then I've got my cacciatore down there. And once you've got that, you hold down the wheel button, whatever it may be, and you're just going to hit Q and E to load up. And just that fast, you've loaded everything. If you've got different types of ammo or something, then you need to look into that. So we're going to go for 150 meters. This is the 164 yard mark. Actually, I tell you what, because of what we're doing, we're going for the 50 meters. And that will allow us to have our shotgun as well. Now, there's a reason that you would want to have your shotgun, and there are animals such as the bobwhite quail, the pheasants, and ptarmigans. And what you want a shotgun for is those animals. There might be another one, I'm not sure, thinking about it off the top of my head. If I go here to New England Mountains, the pheasants, the bobwhite quail are on that. On Reventuli, you're going to have, let's see, you've got the rock ptarmigan and the willow ptarmigan. And then on Mississippi, you have your bobwhite quail. And then on Rancho, you have your pheasants. Also, I believe that on Hirschfelden and Parque Fernando, not Parque Fernando, then there's pheasants somewhere else as well now. But anyway, what you want to do is for those specific animals, again, it is the ring-necked pheasant, the bobwhite quail, the willow ptarmigan, and the rock ptarmigan. I don't think there's any more. I think that's it. So for those animals, what you want to do is have a shotgun. You don't want to hunt those maps without a shotgun. So reason being, if they're not in the air, then you do not get a score for them. And that is a reason to take a shotgun. You want a shotgun with as many shots as you can take. So the best for that would be the cacciatore 12 gauge. Although those animals, and I'm just going to show you over here in this, those specific animals are, in my opinion, are better taken out with the Kuso for some reason. It's got one less shot than, one less round than the cacciatore, but it seems like it actually does a little bit better on them for some reason. So it's really up to you what you want to do. Everything on them is exactly the same, except for this has 5 rounds and this has 6 rounds. This is a 12 gauge, so it should be more powerful. This is a 16 gauge. It just, for some reason, the Kuso seems to work a little bit better on those animals specifically. I don't know why. I still take the cacciatore because I bird hunt. I do all kind of bird hunting and stuff. Now, another one, as far as shotguns go, the only other real choice at that, you have 2 other choices, and that's going to be your Miller, which cannot have any kind of sights on it, and then your Norden. And the Norden is the fastest gun in the game. It shoots as fast as you can click. And I do mean, boom. If you click that fast, it will shoot that fast. You could literally, with slugs in it, you can boom, just shoot like a fully automatic rifle with it. So keep that in mind about the Norden. And it does come in 3 different variations. So if you need extra shots with the Norden, if you equipped all 3 of them, you could actually have 9 shots. I used to hunt before the Kuso come out, I would hunt with 1 Cacciatore and 2 Nordens. And that's what I hunted geese with. And it worked great. I would hunt ducks that way too. And it does work great that way. So for rifles, though, for class 1 animals, you're going to be looking at anything from rabbits, hares, ducks, turkeys. If it's in the air, shotgun is the way to go. If it's on the ground and you want multiples, shotgun is the way to go. If it's out in the water, shotgun is the way to go. If you're trying to get multiples, especially. If it's within about 60 yards of you. If it's over 60 yards, if it's over 55 yards, or the 50 meters, you want to instead try to use one of the 22s. So you've got 3 22 rifles. You have the 22 Virant. And let's set this up to this one now. You've got your 22 Virant. This thing can shoot up to render distance. I'm zeroed in for the wrong thing. You can shoot up to render distance with this. Let me show y'all how to do this. ACG, I'm just going to go for 400 meters. And that's going to be... All right, so we got to hold down a little bit. All right, you see where we hit it. So... I hit just below it. You see, though, I think it's going to be right there. You got to use that bottom to judge where you're shooting at, the long line on the bottom. I'm just shooting at the midway point, and there you go. So that, if you hit a duck or a turkey, especially from that far away, you will take it down. And you're not going to spook them off. But we're going back to this. How are you today, CG? CG, if you have any questions at all, just let me know. So, we're going to set it back to the normal range. And so you got the Virant. Right now, just so you know, all of the weapons are shooting a little bit off to the left. Sometimes a little higher or a little lower than they should be. There's something wrong with all of the weapons at this point. But the Virant is the best, by far the best out of all of the Class 1 rifles. The reason it is better than the Zarza is it has 10 shots in it. And as far as I know, they have not changed the Zarza to where it doesn't spook stuff off. So the Virant at 100 yards out will just warn stuff. It'll make it go alert, but they won't spook off 100% usually. At about 115 to 150 yards, they're going to just sort of be like, okay, there's something going on, but they're not going to spook. Over 150 yards for sure, they don't even realize it was shot usually. With the Zarza, which I absolutely love though, it is a great gun. It's very accurate. With this one, if you listen to it, listen to the Virant. It's got that, and the Zarza has you hear the echo on it. That echo spooks stuff off even up to 150 yards from my experience. And that is the main reason. Also, again, this one has 10 rounds, 10 shots. Okay, and that's how fast it shoots. This one has 5 shots. It shoots faster, but in my personal opinion, after that first one, you're not going to need to have that other shot because it look at the recoil difference. With the Zarza, takes me up here after I shoot the first time. So that's one reason I dislike the Zarza as well. Besides that, I love the gun. I think it's a beautiful gun. It's probably my favorite looking gun in the entire game, actually. But I just feel that with the sound being louder, it's useless to me. Now, we have the weakest of all 22s, and it's the one that can go for Class 2 animals. And that is the 22H. And it is super loud. And it's just not worth taking. If you have a Class 2 animal, or Class 1 and 2 animals on a map, and then there's nothing from 3 or nothing in Class 3 at all, this might be okay to take. But honestly, it's just not that great of a weapon at all. It's way too underpowered for what it is. I have shot coyotes and stuff like that with the 22, and in my opinion, the 22, up until recently they nerfed the 22 LR to where it doesn't really do much to Class 2 and up at all. I don't know if people were still hunting them with it. I was taking bison out with the 22 LR just to test it. So with this one, it definitely will do damage to the higher levels, but the 22 LR doesn't really do that much anymore. However, used to, when I tested it before, the 22 LR with the truncated cone was more powerful than this gun is all day long. So for your Class 1 animals, go with a high round count shotgun. If it's in the air, the water, or even on the ground, if you want to try to do that, if you're within like 55 yards, 50 meters, go with the Virant 22 for Class 1 animals. So let's go up for Class 2 animals, and let's look at your options. And Class 2 is going to have one extra as well, and the reason for that is that Class 2, I'm actually going to go ahead and save that. Let's get rid of all this ammo. All right. Class 2 has a very specific weapon. 2 and 3 has a very specific weapon that will work for it. That's not a rifle. So let's look. We've got the 223. Let's go ahead and actually put on a backpack as well. And yeah. Let's go with the dry leaf. That's good. So you got your 22, or your not your 22, your 223. Now I predict that the new 22-250 is going to cover Class 2, maybe Class 3 as well, maybe Class 1. I'm not sure. I'm hoping it covers 1 to 3, and if it does, all of these other weapons are just going to be obsolete pretty much at that point. That's what they like to do. So let me find the specific one I'm talking about, though. You need... Now, this I don't think will cover Class 2 at all. The lower one might cover Class 2. I don't know. I need to look that up. Just go here to the store and we'll look it up right quick. So, the Hudzig, if we go here to compatible, this covers Class 4 to 8, and this is 3 to 7. Okay. So yeah, this is the most powerful Class 3 there is. So I will get to that. You've got your 22. I keep calling it 22. Your 223 Dockant. You've got way down here. You're gonna have your Whitlock or your 30-30. You're gonna have your Zarza 223. You're gonna have the Ranger 243. You also You also have the Vasquez, and the other weapon is the 243 Arcomo. I think that's all of the weapons. That's all of the ones that I really think are worth mentioning. For Class 2, you do have the Coleman as well. I'll go on and throw that one back in there. Just we'll look at it as well with those. So let me get the ammo. 223, 22H, 243. The ammo that you want for the Vasquez is the round nose air pellet. The other one, I don't remember what it's called, but it is no good whatsoever. You got that. And then you also are going to need your 30-30 soft point. With the lever actions, you want soft point. So let me grab the Helios as well. And that sounds good, CG. Let's go ahead. Now, we're going to do at 150 again. And let me go on and throw all of these on here. So we want to start with the weakest and then work our way up. And the weakest of all of them is going to be the Coleman. And then we're going to go ahead and go with, let's see, the 223 Dockant, the Zarza 223, the Ranger will be there. We're going to go ahead and put the Vasquez there. The Arcomo will go there. And we're going to go on and put the 30-30 here. As far as the 30-30 in how powerful it is, I'm going to have to say it's just under the power of the 243. So let's make sure we got all of our ammo. All right. So this 100% is how powerful they are. That sounds good, CG. I would like to have I'm going to have that for dinner tonight, actually. So I'll just put it that way. The Coleman is by far the least powerful of the Class 2. Again, it's very accurate at this range, but starting with Class 2, I'll show you some other things about it. The 223 it's dead on. I hit it exactly in the same spot I just hit. It is dead on 100%. So with this, it's not as powerful as the Zarza. But at the closer range, it's dead on. At 164 yards, 150 meters, it's perfectly dead on. Where it suffers as power, small animals, this thing, they just shrug this thing off. Just like the Coleman, they just shrug it off. So it's really not worth it. Then you go to your Zarza. Your Zarza is more powerful and shoots longer or further out more accurately. It is got a flatter trajectory than your Dockant version of the 223. So if you want to take a rifle specifically for Class 2 animals, I actually do recommend the Zarza 223. It is a great rifle, but only take broadside shots. So your next rifle that you're going to be, or your weapon you're going to be talking about, is this guy here. There's a problem with him, though. He's more powerful than the Virant, by far, but to get up to 164 yards out, you can only zero for 109. 164... As you see, I'm getting closer. So it's a guesswork. It's in that range, and it's always going to be a guesswork at that distance. So its fallback is that it is very limited in range. The good thing about this is that if you're 110 yards away and you shoot something with it, it's not going to spook. From my experiences with it, it still will not spook, and you can hunt axis deer or class 3 animals with this thing, even class 4 whitetail, all day long with this thing, and they'll just look around like, what was that? And then they'll go right back to being normal. So honestly, the most versatile weapon in the class 2 range is the Vasquez. It is by far an amazing weapon. It's a great gun. You just got to be in a shorter range with it, and you have to take broadside shots. So if you want it dead and you're up close, you can get a broadside shot. This will do it. It doesn't get you a lot of quick kill, but it will take it down pretty silently. So the next weapon is going to be our good old 33 here, and the 3030, excuse me. The 3030, I love the gun, but it is way underpowered now. And as you see, it shoots off to the right of where you're shooting. So if you're over 150 meters, 164 yards, do not use this gun. It is decent for varmint hunting up close. It's pretty good. Anything class 2 to 3, this gun is pretty good for. So just be under 150 meters, 164 yards, and it's all right. Now, the next one is going to be our good old 243 starter rifle, and at that range it's perfect. It's a beautiful rifle. At 164 yards, it's amazing. If you're wanting the power, the most powerful rifle for class 2 or 3 at 164 yards, well, for class 2, the Ranger 243 is the rifle you want to go with. So the problem is that it's not as powerful as its little brother, the Arcomo handgun 243. Now, let's see here. At 109 yard zeroing, we hit perfectly on 164 yards. So that tells you a little something about it. This thing is awesome. It is powerful. It is awesome. It's amazing. Now, this thing actually does 218 yards perfectly, but over that, you do have to start adjusting a little bit for the distance, and I can show you that if we go to 250 instead, and I hold dead on while zeroed there. It's just below where I'm holding. If you're at 250 meters, which I'm not sure, I think it's 272 yards, and you hold for the 218, if you hold just like a sliver above where you're wanting to shoot, you'll get it. So it is very good. After that, I don't feel that it's going to be nearly as accurate, and you do start losing a little bit of the power with it. So this is at the 328 yards or 300 meters. And you see I hold halfway of the black and I get a perfect bullseye. So if you want to try to judge that where it's at, it's halfway of the black. So the line number 7. Wait a minute, let me read that. No, line number 8 is where it would be. You hold it line number 8 and you can hit at that distance. But let me show you what happens if you try to shoot that far with the 243 rifle. All right. So you see where the handgun shot at. The 243 rifle zeroed at 328 yards or 300 meters if you hold dead on. So again, if you shoot at line 8, you're going to be closer to it. So you can see it's definitely not dead on. It does drop quite a bit. The reason for that is for the Ranger 243 and the Dockent 223. The 300 meter shoots at 250 meters. 328 yards shoots at 272 yards. So go ahead and pull out the Dockent. And you see it is perfect at this range, but it's exactly like the 243 rifle. If you go to this, you see how far down it shoots. So you got to be aware of that. Now, if you go to the Zarza, this is what a lot of people are not realizing. Look at where the 223 Dockent just shot. That's where the 243 and the 223 Dockent will shoot at the 300 yard or 328 yard, 300 meter zeroing. The Zarza 223, this is its advantage. It shoots flat at that distance. It shoots perfect at that distance. So, therefore, what is the best rifle or weapon to take for Class 2 hunting? Well, it depends on what you're doing with it. If you're hunting something that's Class 3 as well, the best gun is going to be, let's see here. The best gun still is going to be this one here, the Arcomo. In my opinion, it's only got one shot, but it's the most powerful. It's the most accurate, in my opinion, and it will do what you need to do. So under that, we've got the 243, and I say that anything at 272 yards or 250 meters and down, this is a great gun. It's probably the best one that you could use. If you need the full 300 meter, 328 yard distance, you want to go with the Zarza 223. It's going to be the most flat shooting for that, and it's going to be the best thing to use as long as you don't take shots that are stupid. You have to take a perfect broadside lung shot. Now, as well as I was saying about these, if you take you're going to be hunting up close and personal, kinda. You hunt at 110 yards to 115 yards. This weapon here, the Vasquez 45, is absolutely a beast for these classes. And say you've got a lynx drinking, this will do it. You've got a coyote drinking, this will do it. It's, I guess, what they call a niche weapon, but it's absolutely awesome. It's a very good weapon overall, and I like it a lot. So if you're going on a hunt and you just need something to shoot as far as possible to cover any situation that could be for Class 2 or 3, and you not really for running shots, but just for good hunting to where you can actually shoot as far as a 223. If you're taking or you're going for the you're going on out there and you're going to hunt something and it might be quartering, it might be running away from you or whatever, your 243 rifle as far as rifles go. If you don't need a bunch of shots, just take the handgun and be done with it. So that's the hardest class to cover in the entire game. Hands down, the hardest class. 2 and 3 both are, really. But let's go have a look at class 3. There are going to be 2 new weapons coming into the fray at this point, I believe. And we can get rid of this. These are still all viable for that. I'm going to show you the other 2 weapons and you'll see why they're good and why they're bad. So now, in all honesty, there is one class 3 weapon that is much better than all the rest, except for they have messed it up, and that is the Solokin. The Solokin has, I'm going to say it's a glitch. Okay? I'm going to say it's a glitch. Let's do this. Let's just walk them up. So, now we've got the Solokin and we've got the Hudzig. I need to go get the thing for the Hudzig. We need to get the Galileo. All right. All right. So you saw how those others worked. They are great weapons. 100% great weapons. Now, when it comes to class 3 weapons, the best of the best has always been our good friend, the Solokin. But they have completely screwed up the Solokin, and it no longer works the same. And I don't know if it's a glitch or it's intended, but if it's intended, then they are breaking the perks. And one of them, I'm not sure which one it is. Muscle memory unlocks the ability to ready your next shot without leaving aim mode for rifles, shotguns, and handguns. Therefore, it has to be a glitch. And if anybody says that it's not a glitch, this right here dictates that it's a glitch. So I will show you what I'm talking about. It works fine right here. Let's step out here. It's not supposed to do that. That will mess you up. It is not supposed to do that. I have lost several animals because of it doing that. It makes me so mad. So I cannot recommend the Solokin at all, even though when it comes to power, it just blows all of these competitors here. They're nothing compared to the Solokin. Now, I will say this. The Ranger 243 with the polymer tips, always use polymer tips for this weapon. For all of these, besides this, use polymer tips. This one only has soft point. Soft point are best for this one. So, all of these are not nearly as powerful as this, except for the Ranger or the 243. The reason that the 243, I say it's better somewhat, is you can hunt a mule deer with the polymer tips with this better than you can hunt a mule deer with the Solokin. The Solokin, if you hunt something, say a lynx or something like that, or a goat or something, if you hit it, it's going to die. So the Solokin is one of the best weapons in the game as long as you can get past that. Oops. Just shoot it on. Oh, goodness. Don't be like me and hit stuff accidentally. The Solokin is by far one of the best weapons in the game for long-range shooting. It is a sniper rifle. Oh, man, I shot it. I broke it, y'all. I done broke the thing. And actually, did I put it on something different? Really? That means they've actually dropped the range of the Solokin a little bit. There's something definitely wrong with this weapon. So it is dropping down and to the right at that distance, which this gun actually, even at 400 yards or 350 yards, you had to actually hold a little bit low. At 300 yards or 300 meters, 328 yards used to, you had to actually hold just ever so slightly low of where you were shooting, or it would shoot too high. So they have changed the ballistics of this gun quite a bit. So you can see it's kind of, if we hold it 9, that's way too high up. Holding right at the end, kind of in the 9 black area is where you need to shoot with this now. Let's try it on 150 meters, 164 yards. And it's dead on. So I'm going to try this one at 200 meters. I think that's 218 yards. So hold at the 9 line and you're going to get it. But it definitely shoots over to the right. I don't know why, but it does shoot over to the right. If you are just at 164 yards right now, you've got that. So the best weapon, period, the most powerful weapon you can possibly have for class 3 is the Hudzig. Now this thing has a very short range of 109 with this ammo. You have to use the 50 caliber round ball for this, okay? And if we want to shoot at 100 meters, 109 yards, it's going to smoke anything you can throw at it. Wow. Okay, that's broken. I don't know what's up with that. That's not right. So don't use this gun right now, but when it's working right, let's see, at 109. So right now I'm holding a full black area over. And just a little bit up, say about the line of 9. And I'm hitting perfect. I did not know it was doing that, but I do know if you shoot without the Galileo on, you are going to hit perfectly where you're aiming. So maybe not use this one right now, but when they fix that, this is definitely the most powerful class 3 weapon you can have. It's by far my favorite class 3 weapon for power. There's nothing it doesn't shred. And that even the ball will shred class 4 animals like they're nothing. So the best weapon for class 3 overall, if you really just want something to take hunting for class 3 animals, your Solokin is going to be it. If you can get past it doing that weird thing that it done, then you're going to be good. So again, I'll show you one more time what I'm talking about. It does that, and it throws you way off for any kind of follow-up shot or anything. So just make sure that you're dead on when you do that. All right. So for class 4 and up, this is where things kind of get strange, because class 4, honestly, class 4 is so overpopulated with weapons. Everything in here can cover class 4. And then on top of that, you've got your 270s, you've got your 7mm, you've got the Kerman, you've got the 30-06, the 303s, you have the other 50 caliber mini balls, you have the M1s, which are 30-06 but not as powerful as the Ecker. You've got this 7mm, you've got the Martinson 6.5, the Olsen 308, you've got your Solokins and your Zarza 308s. So the best thing I can tell you about anything that's a class 4 and up is, if you don't have to have anything for 2 or 3, forget all of these weapons. Every single weapon I've got in here right here, forget them. So we're going to go back and I'm going to cover from the least powerful, in my opinion, to the most powerful, in my opinion, for classes 4 to 8. And that is where it's going to be at. So we're actually going to move the Solokin up. It will go up to 7, and that's why everything else, this stops at 4, it's out. This is going to stop at 7. I'm going to leave it in for now. The Ranger stops at 6, so I'm going to go ahead and take it out. The Vasquez stops at 4. We're not going to consider it. The Whitlock stops at 6, I believe, but the other one comes in at 4, so we're taking it out. This one stops at 4, and then this one stops at 6. This is still a viable weapon for anything in that range, though. I've taken out Diamond Mountain Lions with this thing, no problem at all. Just drop them almost right there. All right. So, what do we want to take? Well, let's go ahead and let's grab the Warden. Let's grab the Stradivarius. Oh, let's grab that one. So we got the 270. Hey, Pixie. We've got our 7mm there. We've got the Coachmate. Now, this is not going to be easy to do, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop out the Solokin for this. I seem to have more than I need right now. I know why. So none of those need to be in there. We don't need that. All right. So at this point, we're going up for the class 4 to 8 range. So a 270. 270s, any of the 3 will be fine. You've also got your 7mm Empress or your 7mm Magnum single shot break action. You've got your Coachmate, and then you've got your Hudzig. You've got the Kerman, and I think I'll probably end up taking those 2 out to show these, but We're going to go with, let's just go with the elegance for now. I'm going to go with my favorite of those. Your M1. Okay. For now, I'm going to take out the... Let me look and see what it is I need. What do we not put in? The M1? There's still stuff after the M1, so yeah, we're going to go ahead and take out the Hyperion. We're not going to need it. I'm going to take that out to give myself extra room. All right. So what we'll do is we'll go through and actually show specific things first. So let's go with the weaker weapons first. Okay. Yeah, I'll show you specific stuff. So Pixie, if you have any questions about the game, feel free to ask. Let me go ahead and grab everything I might need for this part. Now, I will tell y'all this. The 303 I use in a different way for something else, and it is amazing the way that I use it for that. But if you use soft points, it's better than the other stuff. So I think I took the Solokin out. I don't really need it in here. All right. That should be what I need right now. If we go in here, we're going to put stuff, what I feel is what needs to be talked about first, and then we'll get rid of this stuff. So these are kind of the three off weapons of what's going to be in here this time. And I'll explain what's going on. Let's go back and grab the Galileo right quick. All right. So we're going to set this down to 100 yards, 109 yards. You've got the new Kerman, and at 100, you got 164 yards if you want to go for that, but 109 yards. This thing is a beast at 100 meters, 109 yards. Anything over that, even the 164 for me, has been difficult. It drops a little bit, and it's just not as powerful as I would like it to be. It's not a good moose gun in any way at all. I just do not like the Kerman all that much. Now, I don't know if this one is going to be any better or not, but with the Hudzig muzzle loader, you can go up to 218 yards. It's almost maybe the most powerful gun in the range of 4 to 8, as long as the scope is working. So the scope is still shooting way off for some reason. As you can see. But this is going to be probably your most powerful weapon overall in that 4 to 8 range that you can have. This thing shreds moose even. To start with, it didn't, and it was some sort of glitch, but it absolutely shreds moose. And bears, I mean, like grizzly bear, your black bear, your brown bears, this thing will drop them. It's just, they're dead within a few seconds after shooting them with this. Single lung shot, no problem at all. Boom, they're going to be down. So if you want just a single shot weapon that you can take out and actually hunt with, once they fix the scope, this is great. It's going to be a great weapon for you. The next one I want to show y'all is the 4570. Now, this is the big brother to the 3030. This one's got the power. It's like He-Man. It's got the power out of the lever actions. If you want to hunt further away than 150 meters, 164 yards with this, you have to come to the range and teach yourself where to shoot at, which height to shoot at, or you're just not going to do anything. So let's just look at a 200 meter, 218 yard shot. If we hold dead on, you see how far it drops. I'm going to hold at the top of the black. So it's not consistent at that range at all. Your best bet is to shoot under 150 meters, 154 yards, 164 yards. In my opinion, 150 yards is the cutoff point for this. If you want to shoot between 100 yards and 150 yards, then this weapon's going to be pretty good. But not over that. And they have nerfed the power of it, so it's kind of just an honorable mention for rifles overall now. But if you want lever action, this is your best lever action rifle that you can have. So out of the muzzle loaders, by far the Hudzig is much better than the Kerman. So those are kind of your different ones, and I'm not going to cover those specific weapons in any more of the classes at this point. All of those are good. With those ammos are good for 4 to 8, and that's all you need with those. So let's go on and take those out. We need to take that one out, that one, and that one. And let's go back in here and get rid of that and that. And let's dial in what we need to look at here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Man, this is going to be hard to get all of these, I think. So, oh man, okay. All right. So let's start off by showing just 2 of these. And when I show you those 2, I will take those out and I'll be able to put in the final weapon, and I will be able to explain my reasoning behind these. So we're going to go based on power. All right. We're going to set this up for 164 yards, 150 meters. So, starting off, you have the 6.5. And this is based on the Creedmoor, I think. 6.5. And it is the Martinson. At this is a great gun for like sniper type stuff. Very flat, probably the most accurate gun in the game by statistics. And then you have the 270, and I'll explain why I'm choosing these two and what I'm talking about. This gun at 164 yards is absolutely awesome. It's actually powerful. It's pretty powerful. It's much more powerful than the 6.5. The 6.5, let's go for a 350 meter shot. .5 is reliably accurate. Now, I'm further out than I should be, but you can see I'm hitting within that black. If that's something out there, a deer at that range, you're going to be smoking it all day. The problem is the power. This weapon just does not have power to it. It is the weakest class 4 to 8 weapon there is in the game, and does not deserve to be a class 4 to 8 weapon. It should be like the Solokin. They should switch this with the Solokin as far as 3 to 7 and 4 to 8, because the Solokin is much more powerful than the 6.5. Now, this is, we're going to lay down. This is at the right distance. It's hard to see with that fog, but it's shooting exactly where I want to. Now, if we switch over, this is the 270, and it's just like the Dockent 223 and the Ranger 243 at the 328 yard zeroing, 300 meter zeroing. It shoots low. So to get where I want, I need to hold at about the 9. And I can get it. So it's not too bad. You just got to shoot a little bit higher at the actual zeroing. However, just like the others, like the 243 and 223, the original ones, the 270 at 250 meters, 272 yards, shoots perfect at the 300 meter zeroing, 328 yard zeroing. So that's why I do not use the 270. All right, so we're going to go on out here, and we're going to take these out and switch them up for the other weapons that you should be using with this range. So this is my main question I get all the time. What weapon do I use for those class 4 to 8 animals? And you really want to focus that down to 4 to 6. You don't care about 7 to 9, because that can be covered with the 338 or the 300 if you're really looking for a powerful weapon for that. Now, if you're there's not a class 9 weapon or a class 9 animal, then, and you want to take one weapon, then this is how you look at it as well. There's a clear winner at this point, though, about which weapon is the best for these. So the 270 is not it, and the 6.5 is not it. So that leaves us with all of these right here for contenders. And I got to throw in one more, which is the good old Zarza 308. So let's make sure that we got everything we need in here. I'm going to put these from, in my opinion, from weakest to most powerful. and see how it goes. So, from weakest to most powerful, this is not the order of what is really the best, but what is weakest to most powerful. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the most powerful, and then bad because it's fun. It's fun to shoot, and this is a moving target gallery game. That's why. It is gorgeous, and walking around out here is what lets me be inside so much. Being able to experience nature this way means I don't have to be out there. So, all right. This is my order of least powerful to most powerful from the way that I see it, the way I have experienced it. The new 308, in my experience, I gave you an answer too. The Olsen Model 308, in my experience, is actually the least powerful of all of these weapons. I don't know why. It's my least favorite. It's a good weapon. Don't get me wrong. All of these are amazing weapons. There's nothing that you're going to go wrong with in this list of 4 to 8 weapons. Now, these two are 4 to 9. But as far as my opinion on power and from my test that I have done, the Olsen Model 23308 is the worst powerful wise. The 303 is actually really good, but it's not as good as the Zarza 308 as far as power goes still. The M1 is powerful, but it's got that horrible that grand ding that it does, and I can't stand that mess. So going down from there, though, the 30-06, the Eckers 30-06 is the most powerful gun in the 4 to 8 range, hands down. From my test, I can reliably take out moose and elk with this thing. They do take a little bit longer, but the rest of them, I would not even hunt those animals with if I had the chance. I will hunt bears with this. I'll hunt bears with these if I absolutely have to, but I would prefer not to. But the Eckers 30-06 is on another level when it comes to this. And then going from there, you're going to have your 7mm Empress Magnum, which is going to be one of the most powerful guns in the game, especially for classes 4 to 6. It just will take them out. It's a great gun for elk as well. It's not the best gun for moose, but moose are the most tanky animals in the game. So, no nameless. I'll answer you in a minute, Bad. In overall, in this list, though, I have found that the new Malmer 7mm Magnum is even more powerful than the single shot from my test. It's more accurate as well. It is really, really accurate. This one is a great weapon, but it is not that accurate at all. And now we're talking about, we are talking about using these as with the polymer tips. There is one of these that I would suggest using for wolves with the soft tips, and that is the 303. I have tested it all, and in my opinion, now also the Zarza 308 is great for this, but the 303 and the Zarza 308, they are both great for wolf hunting with the soft tips. If the wolves attack you up close, this will take them out. it puts them down and keeps them down long enough that they do not usually get back up to come after you if you get a vital. Every now and then they do, but from my experience with the 303, they don't get up as fast as they do with the 308. And if you hit them with the poly tip, they'll jump right back up. But the soft tips, it lays them out, and before they can get up, they're usually dead. So I'll go through what each one of these, in my opinion, need on them, what they should be used for, or what I would use overall. And give me just 1 second. I'm going to answer you bad, but I got to have some water. All right, had to get some water. So, the question is, why is the game so hard to start out in? Because it's like life. If you go out and you have never shot a gun, you've never hunted, you just play the game. You might not even play the game. Say you're going hunting with your grandpa, you're going hunting with your daddy, or your mama if she's a hunter. You go out there, you don't know what you're doing, okay? You're not a veteran already. You don't know what you're doing. That's why the game is like that. As you go through the game, you build skill, you build knowledge, and once you apply that knowledge to starting the game, say you start a brand new game, and you apply that knowledge that you already know, the game is much easier. So it's just like with real life, any real life situation out there, a job or anything, you have to learn what you got to do before you can know what to do. You don't just know it all to start with, so you have to practice. I've never known anybody to pick up a guitar and never touched one before and just absolutely nailed it, you know? All right, we're going back for the 164 zeroing. Every one of these weapons has the zeroings, the same zeroings, and they are 82 yards, 164 yards, and 328 yards, which is like, I think it's 75 meters, 100 meters, no, 75, 150, and then 300 meters, I believe is what it is. So the 50 meters zeroing here is not accurate for these weapons, just so you know. But for this, as I had said, with any of these, you cannot go wrong at all. If you take one of these weapons hunting for classes 4 to 6, you cannot go wrong with it. And what are you talking about, a book? So as you can see, perfect. This is the 30, that was the 308 Olsen. This is the 303 FL Sporter. This is the Zarza 308. This is the M1. This is your Eckers 30-06. You can hear the power. This is your 7mm break action Magnum. And this is your Malmer 7mm. As I said, you can't go wrong with this, or any of these, for any shooting from short range shooting, the 328 yards, 300 meters. you're going to have an accurate shot with all of these. This is oversaturated. This area is so oversaturated with good weapons. So you see, though, this one is shooting off to the right every time. It's shooting to the right of where I'm shooting. So that was the Olsen 308. The 303 shoots a little bit to the right at that distance. For some reason, it's not the gun's fault. Every gun in the game right now, for some reason, is shooting to the right just a little bit. But let's slay down and we can maybe get a little bit more accurate. It's shooting right where I put it. So that is the 303. This is the Zarza. And it's deadly accurate now. It's exactly where I'm putting it. This is the M1. Now, it's definitely off to the right quite a bit. This is the 30-06. You notice the trend with this one. It shoots a little bit higher than the others, actually. That's because it's got more power than the others. This is your 7mm break action. And you can see it does drop a little bit, and it shoots to the right. And then this is your Malmer 7mm. Now, you notice the trend of what shoots where, basically. The two most accurate and powerful are going to be your 30-06 and your Malmer. The Malmer is the most powerful gun, period, for classes 4 to 6. Nothing else can touch it. The muzzle loader, I take that back. The muzzle loader is probably more powerful, but the Malmer is for a regular bolt action rifle or semi-auto or whatever. The Malmer is the go-to. It is the best. Its downfall is it has 3 shots, 3 rounds. So let's talk about the different rounds of them. This is your Olsen model 308. It's got 4 rounds, and compared to the Zarza 308, which has 5 rounds, the Zarza is going to come out. It's more powerful. It's more accurate. It's got more rounds. There is no reason to use the Olsen model 308 at all, in my opinion. It's just a throwaway weapon just to have for whatever you want to do. I do not care for it compared to the Zarza. The Zarza just blows it away, in my opinion. With the 303, you're going to have 5 rounds as well. This is a great gun. It is a really, really good gun. I would say, in all honesty, the 303, the Zarza 308, and the M1 are all amazing. With the M1 shooting off to the right more than it should, it has cost me several diamonds. And when I was doing my whitetail grind, I lost 3 diamond whitetail to this thing. And I don't use it for that reason alone anymore. So I use my go-to specifically in the class 4 to 8 range. If I'm not going to take the new Malmer, is going to be either the 303 or the Zarza. And now let me show you the M1. And again, it's because the M1 shoots off to the right a little bit more than it should. But this one actually shoots a little bit faster than the 308. If I remember correctly, it might actually shoot faster. It might shoot faster than the Zarza. I'm not sure. I don't think so. Boom, boom, boom. Zarza shoots faster. M1 shoots faster than this. That had just like a split hair of a second longer to shoot that one. The Eckers 30-06. Well, let's talk about these three again. These basically are the same. In a way, they're about the same weapon. If you look, that's got high recoil. That's got less recoil. That's got even less. And then that's got the most recoil. So, according to the statistics, the 303 is the better weapon out of all of those. If you just look at the statistics, besides reload speed. Now, this has got less recoil than the M1, but the other stats are exactly the same according to what I'm looking at. The penetration. The penetration is better on the M1 and the 30-06, but from my test, this here is by far, in my opinion, the most powerful for that range. It just slap blows away the rest, and I love it. The Eckers 30-06, the original 4-8 DLC weapon, is the king of those, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's got 3 gorgeous versions, and you, like I said, you can hunt elk and moose with this thing. It takes them a little bit longer to go down, but it is a viable option. Now, out of what we have just went over, what would I take? And it would have to be, for class 4 to 8 specifically, the Zarza 308. Reason being, of the weight, the 5 rounds, and the fact that it is the quickest shot. So, not really trying to line it up, but let's go, just say that we've got a deer there, and then we've got a deer at number 4. I might have just got me 2 deer. I'm going just outside of the black on those. So that would still be a viable shot if I could take that shot. So if you're closer, try that again. If you're closer, definitely you can grab you 2 animals with that. All right. So that's my answer, though, for the big question. What is the best 4 to 8 weapon overall? You want power, the Eckers 30-06, but it's got 1 less round and it's 1 unit of weight more. Therefore, I go with the Zarza 308. Now, let's go back and have a look at something else, though. What weapon am I actually going to take? And that is going to now be your Malmer 7mm. Why am I going to take the Malmer? Well, the Malmer is actually one of the most accurate rifles in the game, at long ranges even. It is by far the most powerful that you can get out of these normal rifles. It's got that extra oomph. You can take it and even hunt class 9 if you want to. Is it good for class 8 and 9? I'm going to say it's on par with the 30-06 as far as class 8 and 9 goes. Great for bears. So class 7, it's great. For class 8, I would go still 7, 8, and 9. I would go 300, 338 all the way. But there you go. That by far is the go-to weapon if you don't care about how many shots you're going to take. You just care about the power of what you're going to be hunting and versatility. And you're not planning to go out there and hunt, 3 animals or 4 animals out of each group. So I'm still getting in that ballpark. You see how quick I can do it, but if you need follow-up shots, this is something you have a follow-up shot for. So you never know where they're going to be, how they're going to move. So say they move from 1 to 2 in that time. It's a great weapon. Versatility, your Malmer 7mm, it's the king now. As far as the 4 to 8 range, the 4 to 6 range, this is the gun you want. Gotta say it, this is the gun you want, the Malmer 7mm. So, let's go and let's talk about the big boys. So, there are big boys out here, and so we're going to dump all of the 4 to 8 ranges out. And I dumped out the Malmer somehow. So we're going to talk about anything that can hunt classes 7 to 9. And now, you've actually got several things that you can hunt with this. So we have already told you, we've already talked about it. The Malmer is better than the single shot 7mm. The Malmer is better. So we're going to go on and take that out. The Malmer was the king of that group, so we're putting it in there for reference. Don't forget, your Coachmate 4570 is a Buffalo gun. It is good up to class 9. Do not forget that. It is good up to class 9. So it could be in there if you really want to put it in there. But coming in under the other class 4 to 8 weapons, I don't really want to put that in there. For class 9, it is a viable weapon, but you need to be within 100 yards to use it to really make it viable. 50 to 100 is going to be your good range. If you can be 50 meters, 50 yards away, it's by far going to be your gun, your good gun for stuff like buffalo and bison and stuff. I'm going to say bison, not really buffalo, but it's really good for the bison at that range. It's good for up and close hunting when you need something like that. So let's look at what we have, though. The other options for 7 to 9, you're going to have your 300. You're going to have your 7mm. And we've got a few others to look at right quick. You got your king. You got your 338, regular 338, and then the Sarugi. And then you also have one other rifle, one other weapon. If I can find it right quick. All right, so let's go get our ammo. Let's get our stuff that we're going to need for this. All right, ammo-wise, we need to grab 300, 338, the 470, and the 9.3 by 74R. All right. And then we need to grab the Falcon. All right. So start off with the 7mm. It's the least powerful. The Grelic drilling rifle is going to be your next one. It's a 5.29 single shot rifle, 5 to 9. All right. At that point, we're going to go for power based on what the game says it should be, which would be the 300. And then this is the way that the game would set it up. With the Malmer being here, the Grelic, the 300, the Rangemaster 338, the Sarugi 338, and then the King. Now, there's a reason that this is not what I would say it should be, though. All right. So we're going to set this up for 164 yards. Back to the Malmer. We got a nice clear day now. So your Malmer is going to be your least powerful for class 9. 4 to 8, it's okay. Or, well, 7 and 8, it's okay. But for class, I'm going to say for class 7, it's okay. For 8, it's a little iffy. On elk, it's fine. On moose, it's fine. It just takes a little bit longer. You're throwing quick kill out the window with it, really. For class 9 animals, your Malmer is better on them than it is on the moose, though. For a lion, the Malmer is awesome. For bison and buffalo, the Malmer will do the job, but you're not going to get your quick kill very much. But you do get more quick kill on them than you do the moose. I don't know why. So, the second weapon in this group is one that I don't usually talk about a lot. I don't play with a lot anymore. But this is your Relic drilling rifle. And if you're going to hunt 150 meters, 164 yards or less, the Grelic drilling rifle is an amazing rifle. It is good for moose. It actually does hunt moose really nicely. I'm going to say the performance on moose is halfway between from my recent test, it's halfway between the 7mm and the 300. So power-wise. For bears, it will take them out. It takes a little bit. It's about as, I'm going to say it's about as long as it takes for the 7mm on bears. For class 9, it's pretty good. I mean, it's not the best. It's not the worst. If you get a heart shot with it, it's great. Now, recently, I actually got a diamond moose with this, and that was my first diamond ever with this weapon, I believe. So this is a great weapon. It's a very versatile weapon when it's working properly. Right now, you can't switch from shotgun to rifle properly, so it's not working properly at the minute. But when it is working properly, it's a pretty good and versatile gun to have. The reason for that is that it can cover class 1 to 9 by itself. It is the only weapon in the game that can cover class 1 to 9, and that is because of birdshot, buckshot, slugs, and rifle bullets. So, but again, it is a single shot. There you go. So It's a break action like the others. So I would put it above the 7mm in terms of power, but I would take the 7mm over this if I needed to have a gun for this range. And that was the only thing I had available at that time or something. The king, still reigning king, in my opinion, of class 7 to 9, is the 300. By far, the 300 is my favorite weapon in the game. It is a gun that should be class 4 to 9 because a lot of people hunt deer with 300. It definitely should be a class 4 to 9 in my opinion. And I don't see, at least a 6 to 9. I don't see why it's not. I don't really get that, but this is the best gun for moose. Hands down the best gun for moose in the game right now. And you might say, well, Michael, what about the 338? Well, number one, the original and the alternate version of the break action 338, the championship, and you look, it's shooting way above where I'm shooting. I don't know why. I'm at 300 and that's why. So yeah, it shoots, it actually drops just a little bit at even 164. I thought that was wrong. I didn't realize I was there. I must have pressed that. So with the 300, you got a follow-up shot. That's the whole thing. So, boom. You got a follow-up shot. With this guy, there's no follow-up shots, period. All right. So, what about the Sarugi? I have been doing moose grind with the Sarugi because the 300 does have glitches. And I don't know why they've not fixed it, but the Sarugi has got to be one of the ugliest guns in the game. But it's actually a really powerful gun. Depending on the animal that you're shooting, the Sarugi 338 is better than the 300, or the 300 is better than it. With moose, the 300, with bears of all kinds, the Sarugi is better. With bison and buffalo, it's kind of a toss-up about where you hit them and how far away you are from them. I've been taking the Sarugi a lot more lately, just because it's a new weapon, I guess, and I do actually really like it. But still, my go-to, as long as it's working right, is the 300. So why not bother with this guy, the king? Well, there's an easy reason for that. Number one, the king is very much not accurate at that range. Not accurate at all at the 164 yards, 150 meter range. If you're going to use the king, you need to be under 100 yards, 100 meters. You need to be about 100 meters or below, 109 yards or below. So it's a little bit more accurate right there. It's accurate enough that you can kill what you're hunting. So, now, with this weapon, if you go over 100 meters, 109 yards, you start losing all kinds of power with this thing. Over 50 meters or 54 yards, you start losing power, to be honest. At this range right here, now let's try something. All right. So you see, you've only got 2 shots. It is a double barrel rifle. It's what they call an elephant gun, basically. This thing, the 470, it has two bigger brothers that I know of, which would be the 500 and the 700 nitros, I believe is what they're called. The 470 is a dumbed down version of them. And in all honesty, it's not the king. If you want to hunt with it, you need to get up close. And you need to be very silent in doing so. Or what you need to do is when something attacks you, break it out and go for that. And that's what this is for protection. So, what gun do you take for class 7 to 9? And at this moment, I'm going to have to say it's a tie between whichever one you happen to like the most, between the 300. If you like it the most, usually take it. If it doesn't seem to be working on that map on that day for you, switch over to the Tsurugi. They're basically, in terms of performance, within a 5% difference, very marginal difference. It's nothing that's going to make or break anything, to be honest with you. So pick one of these two, and there you go. The reason that most people would pick the Tsurugi, it's a paid DLC weapon, meaning it is free. You have to buy the ammo, but it is free. What that means is that with the Tsurugi, you do not have to get the score, the gun score, or pay like $30,000, $70,000 or whatever it is to buy the 300. So that's the one reason I would say that it is by far better in any way than the 300. But if you look here, accuracy is by far better on the 300. The 300, if I remember correctly, actually for large weapons especially, is the most accurate. The recoil is not as much as it is on the Tsurugi, and the reload speed is about the same. The hip shot is even better on this. But the 300 has a 4 in the magazine, and then the Tsurugi has 5. Do you need that extra shot? If you're hunting bear from afar, yes. Black bear grind, take the Tsurugi. 100% if you're hunting for black bear, I say take the Tsurugi or take 2 300s, and that's what you're going to want to do. So, what would I take if I had to choose only one of them? It's going to be the 300. So there you go. That's all of them that I have been asked about. Everything I've been asked about that I know of. So I'll try to answer a few questions I have had. Number one, why is the game so hard to start? I told you it's just like real life. You got to get good. Get good, scrub. You got to get good before you can not be a scrub. There you go. I was a scrub at the game when I started. If you put time into something, you get better. So some of the other things, specifically, it's usually about great ones. Best weapon for a great one grind, I'm going to have to say most of the time the 300. If for some reason you start shooting blanks, switch to the Tsurugi. Best one for the black bear grind. I meant great one moose grind is what I meant with the first one. For the black bear grind, go with the Tsurugi. unless you need more shots and you can switch over really quickly between 2 300s, or take the Tsurugi and the 300, or take all three if you want. My advice for 2 300s on a black bear grind is one with the Argus, one with the Hyperion. If you're going to take a 300 into the Tsurugi 338, put the Argus on the Tsurugi and put the Hyperion on the 300. So for whitetail grinds, I'm going to go with the Zarza 308 or the 303 because they shoot more accurate. There's more bullets. There's 5 rounds in the clip or the magazine, whatever you want to call it. I guess the magazine. So for why not the M1? Right now it's shooting off to the side. Why not the 7mm? You don't have as many shots. Why would I would pick the Zarza 308 over the 303 usually, and that is because the 303 every now and then has a little bit of a penetration glitch, where I have only experienced that with the Zarza maybe once, but it does happen quite often on the 303 compared to, not as often as it does with the 300, but I use the 300 100% more than the other weapons. So what about for red deer? Well, for red deer, I'm gonna have to say that right now the 7mm Malmer by far is going to be the best red deer gun you can take. I would say the Zarza would have been it, and the Zarza is amazing for red deer, but the 7mm has that extra oomph that you can drop them a lot faster with it. So I have to recommend the 7mm Malmer for red deer. Fallow deer. What about fallow deer? Same as with your whitetail, I'm going to suggest taking the Zarza 308. You might want to take the Malmer 7mm. It just depends on how many fallow deer are going to be in that area. So I do believe that they're going to be putting in a European bison great one at some point soon in the next year or two because of several things that we've seen. So what would I suggest for that? 300. I'm going to say the 300 or the Tsurugi. Or honestly, one way that you can take out bison that a lot of people don't realize is a method, especially on Yukon for the American bison or the plains bison. The 4570 is absolutely an amazing gun to run up, take the scope off of it, run alongside of them. And when you get up close to them, if you're just trying to put them down because they're not like a diamond potential or anything like that, you get up there and you can just smoke them and take them out right there. So it don't take them out right that second, but you get that lung shot on them, you get an intestine shot, whatever you need to do to put them down. But they're going to run further, but you're running along with them and you're going to be putting them down. You will have a trail across your map to where, say if I started right here, you can see I've been hunting bison. Say I was here and I run up here and I started hunting, or just say I came in here and I started running up this way towards this lake. It's kind of like a drive in a way. You come up here, I'm going to run up on them. I'm going to shoot one and run with them. And you see how this is here and then this one's here. You'll have another one here. You'd have more here, 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 all the way up. I have had on this map and on Yukon, I have literally had an entire line of purple until it started disappearing all the way from here to here. very few spots in between them at all, and take out entire herds of bison doing that. And you don't put down enough pressure in any one spot that it wipes out any zones anywhere. It is a very viable way for hunting bison if you can get them to run properly. So, all right. So I'm trying to think of what the other questions usually are. Best handgun to take with you, and we're just going to go through and look. The best handgun that you could take with you depends on what you're wanting to do. If you're trying to hunt classes 2 to 3, like 2 and 3, the Arcomo by far is going to be the best, because you have the access to the good scope, and it shoots further than any of the others. This essentially is a rifle in a pistol form. It's going to shoot up to 218 yards, where the others max range is like 85 yards. The other gun, I think that this is a 2 to 6. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's a 2 to 6. Yeah, 2 to 6. So if you want that and you don't mind having the little reflex sight, that's okay. This has no sights. It's not worth taking to me. The 45 caliber ammo is 2 to 5. And then I believe it's this one here is the new one, the Full Metal Jacket, and it is 100% better than the flat-nosed hardcast. The Full Metal Jacket by far blows away the flat-nosed hardcast. It is much better. With that being said, though, this guy here is actually not that bad of a gun, if you want to take that. So it doesn't seem to have as much range, and it is slower, but it's got the capability of using the Hawkeye or Hawk Edge, whatever the scope for it is. I can't remember. Let's see here. I'll tell you. The Goshawk. So it can use the Goshawk. Do not use it for the 410, though. It's not worth it. So for class 1, though, if you're really wanting a weapon to hunt class 1, the Anderson is the only choice. In handguns, again, for class 2 and 3, I would go with the 243 Arcomo. For class 4 and up, hands down, the only thing you need is the Rhino. For class 3, if you want something a little bit better for class 3, you can use the 44 Magnum. It's going to be amazing, and it can use the Goshawk as well. But the reason I say this over this is that this has access to the longer range shots, and it's fairly powerful. This is going to be more powerful overall. It has more shots, but a much, much shorter range. For the other class 2, the 357, once you get the better bullet for it, this one here, the flat-nosed hardcast, once you get that and you have the Goshawk, it's actually not a bad weapon. It's not nearly as bad as people make it out to be. It's decent. It is better than the regular 45 ammo as well. So that's how I would rank the handguns. I get asked about shotguns. What is the best? I got to go with the Cacciatore or the Kuso. The Kuso seems to put down stuff that is groundable faster, and I don't know why that is. It should not. I still prefer the Cacciatore, though. Bows, if you want a crossbow, you only have one choice. For the other between the longbow and the recurve bow, always go with the recurve bow. It's more powerful. It has better accuracy with the larger ammo or larger arrows. As far as, let's just go in here and that. As far as with your compound bows, what is the best out of these? And I get that question all the time. The Hawk Edge is the best. Hands down, it's the best. What if you don't have room for that, though? Take the Razorback Light. It's a half unit less, and it's really good, but you need to hunt closer with it. With the Hawk Edge, I can reliably hunt 110 yards out sometimes, depending on the wind. The Razorback Light, I'm going to cut that down to about 60 yards, but it does take less space in your inventory. Because the Hawk Edge is the best bow, and it's basically exactly the same classes as the Coder and the Bear Claw, it's in the same everything range of it. These are just completely obsolete because of that. What if you're just starting out? You've only got one choice, and that's the Coder if you have the DLC. I would choose the Razorback over the Bear Claw for the next bow. For a 60-pound bow, the Razorback, in my opinion, is going to be better. Whereas the Bear Claw is a little bit heavier, but it's also more accurate. So it's going to be a little bit more accurate further out. The Coder is a 65-pound bow, and it's actually not as accurate as the Bear Claw or the Razorback. And then it says with the accuracy, the 10 is only 10 on the Hawk Edge. So apparently they've got these in reverse. So that would mean that the Bear Claw is actually the least accurate. The Razorback would be next, then the Coder, and then the Hawk Edge, which in a way, I think it would be the Razorback, Bear Claw, Coder, and then Hawk Edge. So if you want to take a bow like this, compound bow, I would keep it to either the Hawk Edge or the Razorback. Again, I would take the with traditional bows, I would take the recurve bow over the long bow at any time. Simply because it's the difference between a 60-pound bow and a 70-pound bow. You're going to just be better overall with the recurve bow. I get the question all the time, which sights should I use? Which ammo should I use? Which sights should I use? For the most part, unless something like a wolf is up on you, go with polymer tip. If you're shooting far off, go with polymer tip. If it's a wolf attacking you or something, soft tip, soft point is going to be the way to go. For specific items, your 30-30 or your lever actions, you want to go with the soft point rounds. Or the 45 air pellets, you don't want to use the hollow point, you want to use the round nose. The hollow point, it's not even worth shooting. Honestly, it's not worth shooting at all. Again, soft point for lever action. Between the mini ball and the round ball for the Hudzig, it's basically which class. If you're going to shoot class 3, you're going to go with the round ball. I can tell you 100% the round ball will smoke anything you throw at it. That includes bears, brown bears. I have hunted them a lot with this just for the fun of it. This is, of course, going to be better, but it smokes anything you throw at it. For these, the Sabo bullets, the polymer tip. The only option you have for the Solokin is the soft point, so that, of course, and then everything else polymers. For handgun ammo, it's kind of the same, to where just look at penetration versus expansion. So if you're going to be up close and you're protecting yourself, it's okay to go with more expansion. But honestly, for the handguns, you want to go with penetration at all times. The more penetration you have, the better. That's kind of the rule of thumb. So whatever it says, don't worry about the name of it. Just look at the two types, and whatever has more penetration, go for that. Shotgun ammo. I've been asked what is better between buckshot and slugs, and you're just going to mainly go for, just keep this in mind. Slugs are like a rifle bullet. They're always going to be the most powerful ammo that a shotgun can have. I do not use buckshot. You will lose animals using buckshot. You will absolutely ruin them. If it's a good animal, if it's a potential diamond, do not use buckshot on it. You will cry. Do not use it. So use a bullet of a rifle of some kind instead. I get asked all kind of other stuff about arrows and stuff. So let me explain this. You've got, let's go here to the bows, and I'll explain this in a different way. You got traditional arrows, and your traditional arrows have two different kinds. All of your arrows and bolts have two different kinds. There's the regular, and then there's the tracer. There is absolutely no difference in these besides the price and the fact that one of them has a little blinker on the end. They are supposed to perform exactly the same way, and with one of the most recent updates, they do. So when the tracers first come out, the tracers actually had a flatter trajectory and worked better for long distance shooting and were more accurate than the traditional, the regular arrows without, or the regular ammo without the tracer blinkers on them. Also, for a long time, the tracer ammo would work better with the, let me find what it is, the Bright Sight rangefinder, and because of that, basically this thing was useless if you used yards or non-tracer arrows, either one. So now they have fixed that glitch, and from my experience, they all work perfectly fine. So if we go back here and we look at the different things, you want to go by grains. You don't worry about the other stuff. So your bolts and your compound bow arrows are all going to be exactly the same as far as class ranges go and what they can hunt. So 300 grain is class 1 to 2. In all honesty, it's not worth using at all, period. There's no reason to use this. If you're hunting a class 1 animal, that's the only reason, and it's going to be horrible. I have shot a rabbit and the rabbit not die using these things. I don't know why. Rabbit did not die. Run around with an arrow sticking out of him. And to my knowledge, they're supposed to die as soon as they get hit. So I don't know what kind of glitch I got, but I've shot a coyote with one of these, and then I shot him later, and I shot him with a gun later, and it only took out 16% of his health being shot with one of these before he stopped bleeding. And so I do not recommend the 300 grain for anything. Moving on to the next, you're going to have the 420 grain. And this is where you want to start at, really. 420 grain broadhead arrows are amazing. They are great. These have the small game point, which is a really weird looking thing. But these have the broadheads, and they, like I said, they're absolutely amazing. They work great for everything from class 2 to 6. I would, at that point, I would switch over to the 600 grain, which is class 7 to 9. I believe these are, yeah, those are 2 to 7. So it covers the 2 from the 300 and the 7 from the 600. So they're very versatile in that. But you have to remember the difference between the compounds and the traditional. Reason being, the compound is going to be overlapping classes, whereas the traditional, it goes to 4 to 7, and then if you go down, it goes from 8 to 9. So with the traditionals, there's actually a reason to use the lowest one. So going on to the traditional, though, the lowest, which is the 350, is 1 to 3, and it does work on your deer and your on all of it. If you can hit it with it, it's going to work on it. It's a broadhead tip on it, and it does work good. The 540 splits off there at the 4 to 7 and for classes, and this has it is a broadhead tip. This is a great one. I've taken down everything with this. Bears are easy to hunt with this. Everything you have in the 4 to 7 range, absolutely easy as can be. So going up to the 700 grain, which is the traditional as well, it does have a broadhead tip, and it is 8 to 9. So you've got to remember that you cannot hunt bears with this, and that's where people go wrong most of the time, is they use the 700 grain on bears because they are thinking about the 600 grain being able to hunt bears, but the 700 grain are more powerful, and they actually are only good for 8 to 9. So these are absolutely great. If you can shoot something with these, it will take them down pretty quickly. The other thing I was asked about, sights. So as far as sights go, you're going to have four basic sights that you're really wanting to look at. Honestly, 3 basic sights you're really wanting to look at for your rifles. And that's going to be your Gen 0 is at nighttime and you're close to something and you want to be able to see it without your light being on or something like that. The Gen 0 is actually good for stuff like that. It's not a bad scope at all. It's just very short. So it is decent for night hunting, but you need to be up close to stuff. So the Hyperion is absolutely amazing. It is a good middle ground for everything, and if you like it better than the Argus, then it's great. But once you have unlocked the Hyperion, you need to buy that and throw it on there. Get rid of the Ascent. You don't need that anymore at all. That's a little kid's scope. So the Hyperion, great all around. It doesn't have as much wobble. It is very accurate, and to my knowledge, what they call the mill dots on it, which are, if you look at the scope, the little dots on the line are called mill dots. They are different on the Hyperion as opposed to on the Argus. They are actually at different distances. So you've got to think about that. And if you're wanting to see very far off, the Argus is the way to go. The Argus, when you first start playing with the Argus, in my experience, it can make you a little bit sick. And if you can't get over that, go back to the Hyperion and forget the Argus and just hunt closer. However, if you have the Argus and you want to go out there and shoot long range and stuff, it's amazing. I prefer the Argus overall. If you can take just a single rifle scope, the Argus is, in my opinion, the one to go with. And its range basically starts where the Hyperion stops at. So it does have a much bigger zoom, and the screen you can see there is more taken up. But let's actually grab let's grab the Hyperion and put it on something. So we're going to put the Hyperion on this. And then, all right, so this is your Argus. You see how much of the screen is taken. This is your Hyperion. So you can see the different zoom levels and how much of the screen is taken up by the edges of the sight or the scope. At long distances, the Hyperion becomes very hard to use, but there we go. That's most of the questions that I have had about this. I've talked for 2 hours straight and my voice is about shot. So I'm going to go ahead and if anybody has any questions, now's the time to ask them. Any other questions? I'm trying to think. There was another question that I had, but I'm not recalling exactly what it was. I think I do know what it was. Okay, so where do you aim for stuff like rabbits and birds of any kind? So no matter where you hit a rabbit or a bird, it's going to die, besides a goose. You can shoot a goose and it not die. At least you used to be able to, and I think you still can. And that is something that they need to fix. I think they're trying to fix it, or said they were, or something. But I have had that happen several times to where my geese did not die. Apparently there's a glitch going on in New England mountains and Reventuli right now, to where there's no respawns for waterfowl unless you kill the entire flock, people are saying. I haven't noticed it. I have noticed that my respawns don't come in until after I have reset, though. Once I reset my game, or not reset my game, but like I actually exit the game and come back in, when I go back to my spots, I'm having stuff there again. So I don't know if it's something that's glitched or what's going on with it, but I'm thinking that's about all. So yeah, don't worry about where you shoot the ducks or rabbits, the class 1 animals. Just shoot them anywhere you can with a class 1 weapon or a class 1 ammo. And that's everything I remember being asked, and that's all about the rifles and the different classes. So there you go. All right. So I think I am going to take a very quick break, and I'm going to pull up Assassin's Creed, and then we're going to go for some Assassin's Creed. I've got to see Miss Pixie, are you back? And if y'all have any other questions, feel free to let me know. I'll try to answer them as fast as I can. And we'll do this again if y'all need me to do something like this. That's 2 hours of talking about different weapons and what's best for what. I gotta take a break from my throat. But actually, I have 2 hours that I can do stuff, so I'm going to go on and end this part here and this archive. So for those of you watching the archive of this, thank you very much. And everybody else, stick around if you want to see Assassin's Creed, and I will switch over to that in just a minute.